Hello. We're just gonna wait for maybe 2 more minutes before we start. Just gonna look at the questions first. Have you guys been working on the submissions yet? And if you have any questions, you can actually type it in the comment section, and then I will just look at it and read it. And we also have something interesting. Yeah, I have something interesting to announce as well. So make sure that you are listening. So I'm gonna wait for 2 more minutes before we start. And, okay, let's see. Okay, so for those of you who are joining right now, I will just have an announcement for you. If you have submitted your illustrations to the Adidas Gucci open call, keep an eye on Adidas Originals Instagram account. Um, Gucci messaged me and told me that Adidas has seen the submissions and they are actually really impressed with the illustrations. Um, so there is a possibility that they will be posting some of the artworks on their Instagram stories. So if you're listening, make sure that you follow Adidas Originals account and see if this is going to happen. Nothing is guaranteed because I don't really know the details. They just sent me an email, told me about it. So good luck if you are in that open call. What else? The Gucci article will probably be up soon. I have seen the draft. It's pretty impressive. So congratulations to our 16 illustrators again. This is huge. Make sure that when it is on the website, you screen cap it and have the link in your on your website or somewhere else. Make sure you save that link and screen cap that article. It's pretty important for your resume. And yeah. So before we start, any questions so far? If not, then I will go to the Valentino open call. So for the Valentino open call, I have already notified the people over at Valentino. Not too sure what they're gonna do, but based on the previous open call, the Gucci open call, it really depends on what the community, aka you guys, going to do. Remember last time for the last open call, we were supposed to have only three winners, and they pushed it to 16 because they were actually looking at your Instagram stories and also your entries, and they were just so impressed by what you guys have done. So that's why this time there could be a possibility that Valentino might get involved later on, but it really depends on what you guys want to do. So as a community, that is actually easier. I will tell you how we can grab the brand's attention if you're watching this. So it will be really cool for you to be like last time, start to think about the mood board and start to share it on Instagram because brands love engagement. Brands love to see things that that is about their collection. So you can think about how to set up the mood board, uh, create some more stories about the work in progress, um, maybe take a sneak peek, or even better for you and your followers, you can start to do some Q&A stickers and maybe have some pick some of the dresses you like, and then you ask your followers like which one they like the most because this will also help you to engage with your followers, and that also will help with your Instagram account itself. When you post your stuff on your grid, there's a bigger chance that for people to see because when your followers engage with you on stories, they are most likely will be able to see your post on your Instagram grid. So this is something that I will recommend you guys to do. And just because we have a community, if everyone is willing to do like more stories on this open call, that and then I repost it, that will actually arouse the brand's attention, and most likely they will start to look into um, your account, your artworks. And I know Valentino is really, really good at help promoting artists. So there's a really good chance that they might do something afterwards. Or who knows, maybe they will contact me and say they want to see all the submissions. But this is all depending on you. I have done my job notifying um, the PR about this whole open call. So I'm just going to answer some questions for now. Um, One of the question is, can we do shades of pink and black in the illustration or focus on one hue only? Again, this open call, the challenging part is you can only use pink, black, and white. You can use all three colors. And as for pink, one of the Patreon members actually asked me beforehand and asked, okay, is it just one single pink? No, you can do different shades of pink because for people who do the hand drawn, it's really hard to match that pink to like the pink to the outfit pink. So if you want, you can use different shades of pink to create that illustration. So and white will be really good to use it as like highlight or like negative space. This is for your like to think about how to create your composition. And another question is, should they incorporate the looks from the collection with the mood I interpret, or can it be a additions or just of just the mood of the collection? So you can do abstract stuff. I have no problem with that. Again, stick to this three colors: pink, black, and white. And you can actually take elements from the collection, not necessarily create the entire outfit. You don't have to take, oh, I want to draw this entire outfit on the in the submission. You don't have to. You can take parts of it. Say if you really like the sequence, if you really like the eye makeup, you can totally do it. Um, can we use several outfits in one illustration? Absolutely. You can actually mix and match. If you think that the jacket from look 31 works best with the dress of look 42, then absolutely mix and match, do it. As long as the clothing pieces are from the collection, make sure this is not an original design by you. You are not doing that. You are actually taking existing pieces from the collection and create an illustration. Um, I also welcome you guys to do portraits or even like just focus on the accessories. Again, this thing about this is a love letter to Valentino, this collection, just because everyone it's so hype about this collection, there must be a reason why you love it. You probably think about, oh, why in this illustration you have to really bring up the storytelling element, just like what happened in the past open call. The reasons the brand picked 16 illustrations, those all illustrations have a storytelling element. And this is a time for you to think about, okay, if I want to work with brands, then I have to really be more creative and think about how to create the composition, create the storyline. So when I look at your illustration, it will be okay. I want to know more about this girls, or I want to know why you love this collection so much. Obviously, you can use words. Um, and I think one of the things that I will say, it will be really cool if you're doing portrait, you can have like a pink backdrop, and then you can use like a white outline to create the face. And then maybe if you are really into doing abstract, you can like start to like think about how to incorporate that dress on the face. That will be a really interesting thing to do. Um, No runway illustration, obviously, as I said in the brief, because as you can see from the previous open call, the brand hasn't. is not interested in anything that is close to the runway looks. So it's really important to be more creative and think about how. I think one of the things I would say is if you say you really do need to do runway illustrations, you need to break them apart and make it super abstract and surreal. That will give a whole different meaning to your illustration. But the focus point is we have to go back to the point. Why do you love this collection so much? Is it because it's so whimsical, because you like this color, or because it reminds you of fairy tale? This is all up to your interpretation. And one thing, don't use cartoon characters, don't use celebrities just because those things are trademarked. If one day you were, I mean, for your creative, you can, but if you are treating this as a mock up to create campaign for the brand, those celebrities probably have trademark. They have trademarked themselves, or characters have trademarked themselves. So if you use it, the brand probably cannot use it because if they post it on social media or like websites, they will have to pay a copyright fee. So that's something to for you to think about. And I think another question I would say, another question people ask is, yes, you can use other colors only when it comes to the skin tone. Let's just say if you decide to create a character that is from outer space, or like from Mars or Neptune, whatever planet you want to choose, you can use different colors, but make sure that it makes sense with the whole composition. So, um, any questions for me so far for this open call? Again, we don't really know whether Valentino will get involved, but I have notified them about this open call. And I'm pretty sure brands are already looking at different stories. So the sooner you can start to create mood board, the sooner you can start to show your work in progress, the better chance that you will arouse the brand's attention, and they might start to like look into this open call and might, and which is really interesting because a lot of times brands contacted me the last minute. So after they have seen all the work in progress, after they have seen us a sneak peek of the illustration, they will contact me and say, we really love what you guys are doing, can you send me all the submissions to look at? So you have to treat this as a real assignment. Think about how your work can actually um, align with the brand's aesthetic. So another tip that I mentioned in the previous open call: once you're done with your illustration, try to create a mock-up Instagram grid and try to put your illustration in Valentino's Instagram account and see if your work actually fits with that brand's aesthetic. Because if it doesn't fit, that means that you are probably drawing the wrong brand. But if it works, then there's a pretty good possibility that you are on the right track. And then eventually they might want to commission you or collaborate with you on different projects. So, um, questions, like any questions? I'm just here to answer questions today. So far, I don't see. Let me see if I have any questions from Instagram. Nope, there's nothing here. Nope, nothing. Any questions for me so far? There's no comments. I'm trying to look at any. There's no comments. Um, and also, I think after this open call, might take a little break, but at the same time, it will be really good to tell me what other brands you guys want to illustrate. I do have Moschino and Tom Brown. on the list, but I don't know who else, like what other brands you have you want to illustrate. Can I explain the skin tone color part again? Okay, yeah, absolutely. So as I said, this open call, you have only three colors, right? You're only allowed to use three colors: pink, black, and white. So I have artists asking me, can I, but what about the face? So when it comes to in the face and the hands and the body, you can use back the skin tone color like nude, brown, black, those colors. But if you want to be adventurous, if you want to take a risk and say, actually, I want to draw aliens in those outfits, you can totally do it. But make sure that it fits with your theme. So if you say your alien is green in color and then the alien's going to wear a pink dress, then if it works, then go for it. That's not a problem. But aside from that, I don't want to see the backdrop with any kind of any other colors other than pink, black, and white. So I think that's exactly this. I think this assignment is aligned with what Pierre Paulo was doing with this collection. He only used one color and created an entire collection. So what I'm saying is, you're gonna use one color and create this illustration. And I already give you black and white as the options as well. So I mean, technically speaking, if you just want to do black and white, you can do that too. That will be quite interesting to see. So I hope that explained your question. Okay, yeah, good. What other questions you guys have? Because last time, like this time, I'm just telling you, um, I'm not gonna answer any questions after this live. Last time it was a little bit crazy because people don't join this live Q&A, and people keep DMing me asking me the same questions over and over again. And as I said, I gave you guys this platform to ask questions, and if you don't use it, then I'm not going to answer any more questions after. Um, yes, Scaparelli is probably going to be on my list. I just need to figure out the timing because I know they have October in July and then probably another collection in September. Um, but the thing is, Scaparelli, I don't know. I have to think about it. This is Scaparelli is a pretty tricky question. Um, I From what I know, they're actually not selling in department stores, so they really don't need to market the brand. So I really have to figure out what to do with them. Oh, you are from Parkdale. Yes, the store is gone, but then we have a pop-up store in King and Spadina. So if you're in Toronto, you can actually visit that. I think the store is opening next week. So make sure that you follow that Instagram account as well. Any other questions for me? Are we allowed to add multiple outfits portraits? Yes. This is what I mentioned before. You are allowed to use multiple outfits in your illustration, and you can have different faces of the models in your illustrations. That is true. Schiaparelli is very illustrative, so it would be cool for portfolio folder. Yes, absolutely. Especially, I don't know. Okay, here's another thing that I'm gonna give you a tip. Today, uh, British Vogue released the photos of Beyonce, and I can tell you that for the next 48 hours, people are probably going to go nuts with those photos. If within this next 48 hours, you can create an illustration inspired by Beyonce, your social media account could probably get a lot of exposure. So that's a tip for you guys. And especially that Beyonce in Schiaparelli, it was so interesting. I can show you that actually. So, uh, Prada. I think everyone is currently looking at this illustration. I mean, this photo. So think about drawing that. It might give you a lot of exposure. There's another one as well that is really interesting. This one is also really interesting. So that's the tip I'm gonna give you today. Um, yeah. Any questions from me regarding this open call? Yeah, Beyonce is a huge thing. I'm telling you, in the social media world, and I don't see there's any more red carpet things going on. So don't now the focus for this summer will be more like, I think right now the focus, if you are done with the Valentino illustration, the next focus will be on haute couture, and also another another thing that I'm going to tell you, start looking into the resort 2023 collections because Vogue has already started to show some of the collections on their websites. I don't really see any illustrators drawing those pieces yet. And even though the main fashion season is September and February, in between there are also some other collections or some other seasons. So as if you are a fashion illustrator, don't just stop after March or October, because to me it's even true right now. It's really hard for me to find fashion illustrations to feature just because everyone decided to put a hard break on it. It seems like no one really looking into the resort collections, and technically speaking, this so-called like period is also a golden opportunity for artists who actually start to draw those collections. I know Moschino have been featuring different resort illustrations on their Instagram account. For the Valentino Open Call, can you use a variety of shades of pink or just a signature pink? All shades of pink. There is no, I don't mind just because the hand drawn artists may not be able to match that pink. So I'm going to open this a bit and say you can use any shades of pink. You can use more than just one pink to create this. But and technically speaking, I find that some of the pieces in that Valentino collection is close to fuchsia. So it's sort of like the spectrum will be pink and fuchsia. In between, those are all the colors you can use. Hope that answered your question. Any other like special questions you want to ask? What I'm seeing is okay, yes, thank you. So there's no questions for me. I can stay here for like, I mean, I can stay here for half an hour, like or more. Any limitation on the medium, we can use any. You can use watercolor, pastel, acrylics, anything. But if you're doing hand drawn, make sure that you scan the image to make sure that it looks professional. Make sure that you go on those photo editing, use those apps to actually edit the photo. Don't just take a picture um, on the table, like where the illustrations on the table, and then you have all things on the table. And one thing, this is sort of like a pet peeve, and it's actually something that you guys should look into is when you take photos of the hand drawn illustrations, sometimes there's like this brown tint or blue tint. You guys will have to download an app to actually fix that. Um, if the if the image turn out to be really blue, make sure that you have sort of like an orange brown filter to balance it so that it will make sure that there is this whole true white thing. And if it's too brown, then you need to have a blue filter to make sure that the image looks good. Um, I don't like, as I was saying so many times before, make sure that you don't your picture, the file you send me only has the illustration, because this is how you're going to present to brand. Imagine if you decide to say, "Oh, I'm going to take a picture here, take a picture there," and aside from focusing on the illustration, you have other things. Brands are not going to really care about that, and they probably will just throw it away because that is not professional. For people with with a scanner, you can go to your local library, Staples, or other copy center to get high quality scans of your work. Yes, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure that your phone is a pretty good camera as well. And all you need to do is download those free photo app and just edit it, because that's how a lot of people do. Like when they send me the image, they actually use I think it's Snapseed. It's one of it. It's by Google, and that will actually help you to edit the photo, make sure that the photo looks perfect before sending the submission to me. Um, but there's no limitation on the medium. So if you want to use hand-drawn tools, go for it. If you want to use Procreate to create your digital illustration, go for it. And as I said, if you want to do 3D animation, if you want to do 3D graphics, like metaverse style, go for it. Like those 3D version, it's going to be the future of fashion illustrations. So it's really, really good for you to learn how to create those illustrations. I think Clo 3D is the most popular app for people to use when creating 3D graphics. Any other questions? If you can only use your phone, try to take a picture on an overcast, cloudy day as the diffuse light at like a softbox. Yes, absolutely. This has turned into like a photography class. But I agree with you. Or if you want, try to stay away. Like make sure that when you take photos, your shadow is not on the illustration, because sometimes you want to take a close shot, detail shot, and then somehow your whole shadow is there. Oh, and also when you send a submission to me, you don't have to send me the detail shots. I'm not particularly interested in that, just because I have other illustrations to see. Imagine if everyone decided to send me those detail shots, I will take forever to look at the submissions. So don't don't worry about that. And try to keep your file to less than 5 megabytes, unless it's video. Honestly speaking, you don't really need to send me like a 30 meg illustration like file, because to me, I'm just posting on Instagram, on social media, and high res photos, high res like files are more for printing. So, um, if you want to give me medium medium resolution, less like that's roughly like 3 to 5 meg, that is fine, because when you trust, like the reality is, even if I post it on Instagram, they're actually going to reduce the size. They're going to compress the image. So it will turn from like a high res to maybe like a medium res. So don't don't need to send me high res illustrations. Just jumping in. So maybe that was the answer. We should treat this one as a campaign, correct? Uh the model outfits, yes, we talk about it. You can use multiple outfits. And yes, this is you can treat this as a campaign. Again, the topic for you is a love letter to the fall and winter 2022 collection, to this collection. Why you love it. Um, so basically what happened is when I look at your work, I should be triggered. I should be like, "Oh yeah, I really really love this collection." Like your composition, everything should really show that how much you love this collection. Just because um, everyone voted this one as the fan favorite. It's the top favorite. So I also want to understand why you guys love this collection so much. Not just showing me, oh, there's a model standing here in this outfit. There has to be some kind of thing that really trigger my emotion and say, oh, I want this collection badly. And you can also do menswear. You can do portraits, focus on the accessories. If you do portraits, think about how you can make how to incorporate clothing in a really interesting way. Um, I think it's really good that you can use white, like practice using white color to create outlines. You might see something completely different with your style. Um, and I think that answer your question, right? Does that, or you want me to explain more? So in the future, is this going to be less focused on hand draw? No. In the To be honest, like this question has been asked probably for the past 10 years. A lot of people ask me if digital illustration is more important than hand drawn. My answer is no. It really, honestly, it boils down to what brands love. If brands love traditional medium, they will constantly go for traditional medium. And if you're really comfortable with just using traditional medium to create illustrations, then keep going forward because that's your strength. Because I know that some artists, once they turn from traditional to digital, they don't really know how to draw and their works become pretty bad. So focus on what you're doing. To me, ultimately, it's more like the composition. It's about the elements, and it's more like about, oh, is this a pretty illustration? That's all. It's not really about, oh, what medium you use. If you use all oil to, like, if you do oil painting and it looks good, I will still feature it. The only thing I would say is make sure that when you scan that image or take a photo of that image, you use Photoshop or Snapseed to edit the photo so that it looks professional. Um, yes, Dritz actually collaborate with Painter, which I actually talk about that in our Patreon group. I actually interview one of the uh, former graphic print designer for Dritz, and he talked about how he create those fabrics for Dritz. It was really really interesting. So if you like to do prints, like textile prints, there's a future to work with fashion designers as well. And to to me, I know that they actually don't really care whether it's hand drawn or digital, as long as it's pretty and works for the brand. So um, I hope that answered the question. Works. As someone with a traditional art background who works primarily in digital, digital will always be part of the workflow because of modern asset management being primarily. Yeah, it's true. A lot of people, again, traditional, if you do traditional medium, you have to buy the paint, you buy the paper, all those stuff. But when it comes to digital, you only need an iPad or like a tablet to create the artworks, which is more convenient. But from what I know, a lot of people still want to stick with traditional, and that is completely fine. I also know some people actually use this is something that you can consider. Use the tablet to create the sketch, the idea, print it out, and then draw it, and then use I think what one of the artists did is redraw it on the paper so that you don't have to waste that watercolor paper or like those drawing papers. So that will work as well. So you can consider to incorporate that digital part to your traditional part. So taking good pictures, knowing how to edit photo to look as true to life as possible will be key, even if you work fully. Yes, that might. If that's the case, you might want to go to YouTube and search how to edit photos or how to edit scanned pictures because that there will be like some YouTube video that will teach you how to how to correct the colors, how to correct the brightness, the contrast, the exposure. Those are really important things for you to learn. It might take you an hour to edit the photo for maybe the first two times, but I can tell you that after like a month, you can probably do it in 5 minutes. I remember when I was a photographer, and when I was doing photos, I first would took me like an hour and a half to edit the photo, but afterwards I know exactly what presets I need to use, and it will be like 5 minutes after. Like I will only need 5 minutes to edit the photo. So doing thumbnails and sketches to nail down composition color schemes is very useful digitally, but actually drawing and painting will be much faster and easier in physical medium. Yeah, that's true too. And I know a lot of people like that spontaneous touch of using traditional medium. Just like sometimes for example, watercolor, they will flow spontaneously and you'll be like, oh, I actually like this so-called the accident. It turned out to be like a happy accident. So I don't really mind if you use traditional medium as long as you scan the picture and make it look professional. So that I hope that answered the question. This is because the latency issue with tablet pens is more difficult to get a handle on and can be extremely variable depending on what. Yes, that's true too. That's why a lot of people I know use iPad and the pencil to draw just because the pressure sensitivity is better when it comes to iPad and the pencil. Uh, what other things you guys want me to answer? Let's do this for 10 more minutes. I answer 10 more minutes if you have any questions. I mean, I'm opening. Oh, and yeah, for those of you who came in late, I got the message from Gucci today. Um, they told me that Adidas Originals has seen the illustrations and they are very impressed with them. Uh, there is a chance that they might want to feature some artworks. Not sure if it's from the 16 or the entire like submissions on social media. They might not 100% sure, but it will be really good if you have submitted your illustration to the open call. Follow Adidas Originals and see if they are going to do anything about it. So, I mean, if your work is is featured on Gucci and Adidas Originals Instagram account, I think that's pretty huge. You probably will start to find get jobs after that. So um any and for those of you who came in late, just try to create more work in progress IG stories. Show me your mood board, show me your inspirations, because that's how brand will want to see what you do. Like they will like to see your engagement. They will want to see, like when we create this kind of open call, ultimately the brand will be like, okay, so is it worth to actually work with this community? Because if I'm going to have a product I need to promote, will this open call be able to help us to reach to more audience or create something inspiring for people to see? So if you can create interesting mood board, interesting stuff, then yes, it will be it will be really good. I will repost it. And again, brands sometimes will like to ask me for the submissions the last minute. So anything can happen within the next 2 weeks. As we all know, Gucci Open originally only had three slots, but they need to open to 16 slots after just because they saw your submissions and the Instagram stories. Can we use text other than the Valentino logo in the illustration? Yes, you can do that. Like, think about honestly, think about that show campaign. Remember the show campaign? They have all the pin cards and they have different like phrases. You can take that as inspiration as well. That would be a really good way to combine that show promotion and your love letter to Valentino together. Um, I usually go up the inks phase physically and then go to digital for color. Then that's just old habit from Photoshop as a middle schooler in like two, 2004. Oh my god, 2004. Yes, I remember that time. I was struggling to learn Photoshop. Is it okay if we usually different art and arts of fashion illustrator? You you encourage to explore different categories. Fashion illustration is just one small category from illustrations. So illustration is a big umbrella, and then there's different kinds of stuff. Like there's scenery, there is abstract illustration, surreal illustration, fashion illustration, portraits. Explore different things because I can tell you that once you explore different categories, you will start to know what you're good at and see if you can incorporate those categories elements to your fashion illustration. Ultimately, fashion illustration is a really niche category. And if you're willing to expand yourself, then you can do different things as well. From what I know, a lot of illustrators they first started fashion illustration and they turn into something else. They start to create landscape, scenery. They decide to do textile prints. They decide to do commercial products. What I can say is commercial products, especially when you need to do prints on t-shirts, it's really different than normal fashion illustrations. It's more about I think at that point you are more looking into the composition and make sure that that graphic looks really good on the clothes. That is, to me, I think that is more challenging. So, hope that answered your question. Oh yeah, I just realized Sandra's here. Sandra's the one who asked me about the text. Any questions? 5 more minutes. Again, this is the only chance you can ask me all about Valentino. For the rest, if you ask me, I will just direct you back to this video or I won't answer it. Let me see if there's any questions on Instagram because sometimes people will message me on Instagram. Nope. Yes, I see someone already start showing their mood board, which is really, really cool. Follow up my question. What did you say about the Valentino campaign that was related to text? Okay, so give me 1 second. I'm going to look into Valentino and then you will know exactly what I say. Valentino, I'm a fashion illustrator and did comics, but I have a long love of fashion. I'm looking into opportunities in this field since finding the comics. Um, if you are into comics, try to incorporate fashion and comics together. Um, Valentino really liked this, by the way. Valentino last year actually commissioned an a comic artist to create short comics for the to. So, um, where is it? I'm gonna look into that show notes right now. And then, if you want, you can also look into the Valentino Instagram account and look at some of the illustrations they actually featured. Are we allowed to draw the models' faces? I would say try to stay away from that because it's not really the main focus. If you look at the illustrations they featured on Valentino Instagram account, those faces are all original faces. They are not models' faces. Yeah, those are the show notes. Remember this before the show they have posted a lot of those stuff. I miss my pre-internet brain. Sanity is eternal. uh Beauty can be earned. Those are basically the whole pre-show hype. They actually use all those like I think that is part of the invite as well. So you can think about that. You just have to go back and Google search that, but it's going to be fun. Um, yeah, celebrities, they definitely have licensed their face. So if you use the face, they probably will charge you. That's why I sometimes don't recommend you to draw their faces in your portfolio just because commercial wise you might not be able to publish that. So um you can look into something like this. The Valentino has created this kind of post to feature artists to promote different things. So that's one of the, and I want to show you I want to show you the comic. You can combine multiple features from different models you like to look. So yes, this is another tip. That's from Pepe Munez. He said that if you really want to draw models, take pictures of your friends, take pictures of models, and then mix and match their features. That you will see something different. You will see something really interesting. You talk about a name of photo editing app, and just thank you for keep connecting. The app is called Snapseed. So I just type it in the comment. You can check it out. Right now, I am trying to look into that comic. They promote the Snapseed. Yes. Give me 1 second. Like, look into the Valentino account. There's just a lot of interesting elements, and the Instagram account is really really well organized as well. I'm just trying to figure out the handbag. When is I think they did it in last summer. Unless they delete it, it will be really bad. If they delete, then I won't be able to see it. Not the vaccinated. Nope. Where is it? I know they have done something like this. Uh, I can't find it. Uh, Come on, show me the goodies. Uh, I am looking. Where is it? No, that's 2000. I think it's 2020. I will keep looking at. I just realized that there's probably copyright issues with the text as well. Well, create your own text. Create your own. Like if this is your love letter, use your original words. You are not going to use those like phrase. I'm just giving you as an example for reference. Um, Copying directly from photos can also run into licensing issues with the photographers as they are. Yes, this is something that I talk about all the time. But there is a little gray area. I don't recommend it because I don't want you to get into trouble. But try to stay away from it. Try to combine different facial features from different people and create your original character. Um, I can't find that comic, but I can tell you that Valentino have also done something like this. And what I can see, if I can Google it, Valentino Japanese animate. Um, I can't see it, but if I do see it, I will post it on Instagram story so you can take a look. That I can do. um, You're more likely to run into problem with fonts, to be honest. Like Arial and other standard fonts are fine. Coding snippets of people work is also usually okay with attribution. But like, yeah, don't do a whole paragraph. But my main point is if this is your love letter to the collection, you should use your own words instead of copying some other people's like idea and throw it in your illustration because you are supposed to create an authentic, original illustration and treat this as a campaign. Because if you don't treat this as a campaign, you probably will not have any idea how to create that illustration because you will be like, oh, because this time I think the brief is pretty clear and direct and it's challenging because again, you only have three colors to choose. Again, different shades of pink. You can use different shades of pink, not just one pink. The spectrum should be between pink and fuchsia because I can see some of the pieces are really close to fuchsia. And think about what you want to include. Is the story? I think it's the storytelling element that really makes your illustration interesting. Your skills, I can see a lot of people have amazing skills, but if you don't think about the composition, that is when your illustration not doing well. That's something that I can tell you. Like when I feature illustration on Draw Dot, most of the times I look at the storytelling elements. If it's portrait, I want to make sure that that portrait is something different than what I see in other like accounts or from other artists. Like Lemos Sato, you can quote stuff if you're commenting on the work as part of the review. YouTubers have a lot of info on this stuff and something that ran into often. Sure. I mean, if you guys are talented, if you guys are the creative like creatures, I think human beings, I think that you guys should be able to come up with something really original and cool instead of relying on what other people have already done. Um, I personally like original things. I like to see what you guys can create. Sure, this kind of open call is really pushing your limit, but at the same time, it's really testing you how far you can go and what kind of things you can produce with a short period of time. And sometimes just entering this open call may lead to job opportunities. So and one thing also to remember is I want you to be proud of your illustration. If you enter this open call, I want you to be proud of this piece. And it's a piece that you can actually put in your portfolio for now. Like I'm pretty sure in a year or so you might have other interesting illustrations you've created, then you want to swap it out. But for now, I want to make sure that this is illustration you'll be like, yes, I can show it to brands, I can show it to companies. Um, and I will tell you one thing, if you are planning to create your portfolio, think about having a section called mock-ups. I find that a lot of illustrators don't do that because when you apply for jobs, apply for even in-house graphic design or in-house illustrator, they might want to see what kind of mock-ups you can create. So this open call is a really good way to create that mock-up project. So you can write down, okay, the topic for this is love letter to Valentino for winter 2022 collection. Start to show your mood board. Start to show your composition. I decided to pick this dress. Why? It's for your own reference. So you can create this as a PDF file and show it to your employees later on, and then show your finished product. And you might want to explain why you think this is the perfect fit for the brand. Why is it aligned to the brand's value? So I love this whole conversation. There's so many things about like like copyright and legal stuff. Um, Yeah. Learning to work with your abilities and the limits of your client specification is an extremely important part of being a working artist. So, yes, this just think about this as a working assignment. You create a mock-up for the brand and I already give you exactly what you need to create. Now come up with the mood board, come up with an idea. Um, in your own brief, you can also say, "Well, I decide to use this just because blah 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 blah." You can explain it because when you send this out to employers, they might want to see what's the whole concept behind your illustration. And from now on, for all the open call, I can give you a really specific brief. And then you can start to work on it and create a few mock up campaigns. And with that, then you're done. You don't have to like create more. I remember when I was applying for jobs, I actually have to mock up a campaign. Like I have to mock up a logo. Like, what if this brand decide to change the logo? Then what color should you use? Why? And what kind of products you will use with this logo? Will the logo work really well with the T-shirt? Will the logo work really well with the gift card? Those are all the things you need to like. I have to create with I think I was using Illustrator at that time. So it's the same thing. You create this campaign. Why is this effective? What's the marketing value for it? Um, as I was I think I was talking to Caseify last year when we did the collaboration. Um, their comment, their feedback is yes, this community has a lot of talented artists, but the main problem is a lot of those works have no marketing value. So in this case, now I'm switching gear to teach you, make sure that you have that marketing value so you can work with brands to create meaningful marketing materials to promote products. I hope that makes sense. And I hope this is something that you plan to do. Oh my god, we're over time, but that's okay. Any other questions before we leave? I will I will end right at 2, like 4 more minutes. Will the logo work if reduced to 2 colors? Will it read well as a 2? Yeah, like there's a lot of things you need to do. It's like technical stuff, which I can't really like teach you right now. For me, I'm more like looking into the fashion illustration part. Like how can you create campaigns? How can you create um with your style? How can you incorporate your own style and work with brands? How can you create maybe textile prints for clothing? Like for our Patreon group right now, we are going to have open call um, to create scarves, prints, which will be which we will team up with uh, a scarf owner, and then we're gonna sell those at the online store after the open call. So I don't know if you guys are into creating graphic for scarves, but that is only for Patreon group right now. We just started yesterday, so and then you have probably a little bit more than 2 weeks to work on it. If you want, you can join that group, and we have a Zoom session to talk about online business on Sunday, like especially this whole scarf category. How does this artist actually market the brand? How does this market like this artist sell the scarf? What are people looking for? What kind of demographic is looking for this kind of art scarves? So I think that's pretty much it. Any other questions? Because if not, I'm going to take. I'm gonna take off. I'm just gonna leave. Type. Anyone want to type? Because I don't have anything here. I know there are quite a number of people in this group right now. Just want to make sure that you guys are getting the right stuff. Nope. If you guys have no question, then I'm going to leave. Next week there will be a YouTube video on the Fashion Illustrated checklist. I was supposed to upload it. I was supposed to have it this week, but because I was so busy for the past few days, I have to move it to next week. Make sure you check that video. You subscribe to this channel because that video will give you a pretty good idea if you want to have this as a career path or there are things that you need to work on. So All right. If that's the case, I'm gonna leave. Good luck with the open call, and I will see you again really, really soon. All right. See you later. Bye bye.